Hey guys, so this is Reed. So I am coming to you guys briefly. This is going to be a very brief video because I got a wedding to get ready to go to. And I'm like behind trying to get this going. But I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic, something big that came out in the news today. So Royce Reed from Basketball Wives, one of the original cast members, who is also the child's mother, well, the child's mother of one of Dwight Howard, the basketball player, children. She has one son with him who's now 14 years old. Well, Royce Reed was arrested today. She turned herself in. Whatever, same ordeal. But long story short is that Royce Reed was arrested for child neglect. And I believe child endangerment as well, but child neglect. And we're wondering, like, wait, what? Like, did she endanger or neglect her own child? Like, what happened? Well, let's go there. So Royce Reed was arrested because her son who molested another child in the past. And so Royce signed off with court order as a guardian, as a caretaker, as the parent. She signs off where she states that, you know, the child, her son would not be allowed without any supervision in the company of any child that is under the age of 2, that is 2 years or younger, 2 years or younger than him, smaller than him, weaker than him, handicapped child, mentally or physically disabled. So it was a list of things, right, that he was not allowed in the company of without supervision. So because of this, of course, he was removed from the school that he was in. Understandable, you know, if anything was to happen to one of the kids there, then you got like a whole district involved. So Royce was dating a guy at the time. Her boyfriend at the time, they had just started dating a little bit. And, you know, she was forthcoming. She was honest with him and told him about the son situation. That, hey, you know, he had molested a girl, this and that, like a minor, blah, blah, blah. Court said of this, that, and the third. The guy decides, you know what, I'm going to continue on with the relationship. Royce was then decided to go ahead and get her child into treatments, right? Sexual and behavior rehabilitation treatments to control his urges, right, so to speak. So the boyfriend that she had has 2 sons, 2 young sons, ages 10 and 6 years old. And they continue dating as one big happy family. Well, the arrest is pertaining to those 2 boys because it turns out that her son molested those 2 boys. And the affidavit, I won't go into complete details about the details of the molestation. It's sad. It's really, really, really sad. But you can go on Twitter, put in Royce Reed, it'll pop up. The affidavit and everything will pop up. All 6 pages will pop up. And so Royce was arrested simply because her child was not being supervised. He was not under complete supervision. And Royce admits and say that, well, we didn't leave them in the house alone. However, we did leave them at times where, you know, it's a big house, 2 stories. So maybe me and the boyfriend will be downstairs in the kitchen. The boys will be upstairs playing games, or we'll be on one end of the house. The boys will be on the other end of the house or whatnot, right? So we didn't expect of anything. The child's father, the boyfriend of hers, he comes forth and he says, well, after finding out that the children was molested, what I knew of everything, I knew early on, but I didn't think that he would do that to my sons because I thought that he had such a great amount of respect for me. And that, you know, also because my sons are boys, and the previous situation that took place was with a girl. Single mothers, you can't just watch. You can't just hand off the kids to the fathers like we used to anymore, right? Like, you're going to have to watch. You're going to have to do background checks on everybody. And the crazy thing is though, 9 times out of 10, it's impossible to do that. Crazy. So the boy's mother finds out about it when the investigator goes and approaches them and tells of everything. They say that she immediately breaks down crying and everything. Let me tell you something. If I was that child's mother, baby father, Would not be around those kids again without court supervision of some sort. You lost that right. Because the fact that you knew about previous molestation, you didn't tell me about it, because I would have damn sure kept my kids away. You just thought that it wasn't a big deal because our kids are boys. No, you would not be around those kids again without some form of court supervision, because now they've been molested. It's so sad, right? And the molestation took place where, because Royce's son, at the time he was 13, the boys were 10 and 6. What's the categories? Lower than 2 years, like, 2 years or younger, 2 years younger than him, which they were. Smaller, which they were. Weaker, which they were. And whenever Royce's son would get mad at those boys, he would make them perform acts, like he would assault them. And he would do that every time he got upset. You cannot. It's sad. It's sad. And so they said that the investigator, or whoever's putting together the affidavit, I believe it was the sheriff, whoever, they said that when they alerted Royce about the charges that will come against her, of course she was emotional. And she says that, she's trying to save her son. She did say that when she found out about the incident, she didn't know complete details. But when she found out about, I guess, whatever incident that took place with the son and the boys, that I believe that she had let the counselor at the, Sexual Behavior Institute know. And that was the person, the counselor was the one that got CPS, Child Protective Services, involved. And that's how this came to the forefront. And she says that, I'm trying to save my son. I don't know, when we are dealing with predators and sexual offenders, like, I'm not blaming her for, as a parent, wanting to try everything in your power to see if this can be fixed, so to speak, right? And I know everyone has different views on this. Do I think that this can be fixed with rehabilitation? Like, if a sexual offender, a registered sex offender, who was known for molesting little kids and girls and whatnot, and then they come and they say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I did all of that, but you know what? I've been rehabilitated, so I'm good now, right? Like, and the reason why I was doing that, because Royce's son was stating that, whenever he would get angry, it will seek out urges and things. Anger. And sadness. And we all know teenagers go through tons of emotions. And that's what will make him. So it was like, oh, you guys made me mad. You have to rectify this. You have to fix this. Would you be with the sexual offender if they say, hey, I've been rehabilitated, and those were urges when I was dealing with emotions, but I got them under control? Like sexual abuse. I don't know how I feel regarding rehabilitation of that, but that's like, I could be ignorant to things. I don't know. So I'll just leave it at that. But what I will say is that should Royce have been arrested for this? And I honestly think so. Absolutely. Royce deserved to be arrested for this, because you signed off that your child would be under supervision. And yes, you did the right thing, letting your child's boyfriend know about the matter. So therefore he knew early on whether he wanted to get involved or not. I commend you for that. You did the right thing, letting the counselor know. I commend you for that. But you were not completely supervising these kids. You were neglectful. I don't think you should be the only one in jail, though. I think that the boyfriend needs to be in jail as well, because he neglected those kids. He has a responsibility just as much as you do, because he was aware of it as well and just thought that he was better than it. Because why? Because you probably taking the son out for candy and ice cream and things, and you acting like the father figure, since we all know that Royce and Dwight Howard's even on an amicable, friendly nature, is very non-existent, at least from the reports that's been set out. And that's another thing. People are saying, well, why is Royce taking the full blame of this? Where's the father and whatnot? So in the affidavit, Royce's son states that the father's relationship is estranged because the father was upset that he was getting closer to the boyfriend. But here's the thing also, though. It turns out that, mind you, all of these things are allegedly. Okay, I wasn't there. Okay, let me make sure I protect myself. But it turns out that while Dwight Howard and Royce was having child support, you know, family court and all of those things, that Dwight said that Royce was a bad mother and said that Royce would have the son witness things about with her and her boyfriend. So like, instead of you like going to the next room on whatever that you're doing with you and your man, so the kids won't see all of that, that the son will constantly be seeing of all types of things. So I'm sure Dwight is right now looking like, I told the courts of this. I told of this, that she was of something else. Does that completely excuse him? No. Do I think that the children's mother, the mother of the boys, will eventually do a lawsuit against Royce and Dwight Howard? Absolutely. 100% absolutely. I can see that happening. Don't know how far it's going to go, but 100% I can see a lawsuit coming in. If we come back and we revisit this topic, don't say I didn't say that to y'all. Yeah, so I do think that she deserved to get a little bit of, she deserved to get charged with that, right? I do not believe in a parent being solely responsible for kids' actions, especially if you're doing your best job and your kids still want to turn up out there. I don't believe that. But when you create an environment for some form of action to take place, then it's like, okay. So like, let's say, for example, that I leave, I go off for the weekend or whatnot, or I go off to go and deal with whatever, and my 16-year-old son, and I tell him, you know, don't have nobody at my house, you know, I'll be back shortly, blah, blah, blah. And you decide to go and invite some friends over. He decides to go and invite some friends over, right? Let's say a 16-year-old boy. I don't got a 16-year-old, I'm just saying. So a 16-year-old boy invites some friends over, and they doing drugs, and they're drinking, and they're everything up inside the house. But you're gone. But again, 16-year-old, let's not act like 16-year-olds are left alone at the home by themselves. They're teenagers. And now somebody, one of the kids leaves from there, gets into the car, ends up in a car accident, right? Should I be held responsible for that? I get that, you know, the law states that I am, but I don't feel like a situation like that would be fair. Let me tell you where I would be responsible. Now, let's say if that same situation took place and I was downstairs or I was in the home. And, you know, that happens too. Them parents that want to be too cool, that happens as well, where they're in the home, and now when the kids go and leave from there and gets into a car accident, or when the kids ODs, you know, overdose in my home, whatever the case, yeah, send me to jail. Send me to jail. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And so I feel with this matter, 100% Royce should be charged with this. But I do feel for her. This is her only son. And you can tell that she is trying, like in her mind, she thinks that she's done the right thing. I think that, you know, with this, like, yeah, you still didn't, those boys had no business around that son without 100% supervision all the time, right? But I do feel for her. I really, really do feel for her. I feel for all parties involved, especially those two boys. Those two boys, I'm praying for healing for them and their mother, like healing, because it's going to be a long road for them, right? And healing for all parties, healing for Royce's son as well, because in the affidavit, it also states that he as well was a victim, which, you know, usually these things, 98% of the time, when we hear these types of stories, that person was also assaulted years ago as well. And it turns out that that was the case, you know, with Royce's son, is that he as well had gone through this. And I'm praying for healing for everybody. And I just want to hear everyone's thought. Like, do you think that Royce should have been charged with neglect for this? Do you think that parents should be held completely 100% liable in regards to their kids doing a mishap or doing something very reckless, or just, you know, anything that causes harm. Do you think that the boyfriend should be held accountable as well, right? Like, do you think that? Do you think that he needs to be on supervised visits now? You know, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Braylon, you know, do you think that her son could be rehabilitated for this? Do you think that this can be rehabilitated? Do you think that someone who has a history of sexual abuse can recover from this? What are your thoughts? I want to hear everything. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to speaking with all of you guys next time. Till next time, guys, let me get ready for this wedding. Bye.